podcast in the whole entire wrestling community. And I want to host Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are
Raw
Break. How's every single one of you, family? It is Thursday. It's time to talk about NXT UK. You know, a different and special time. It was like an hour later. But, you know, despite that, we had a pretty good show. We know the road. We know what AEW Dragon is going to be doing. It seems already know. Kind of like way too soon for like what we were thinking is going to happen. And also like Meiko Satomura against Jinny for the NXT UK Women's Championship. That was a pretty good match. You know, we got to see Flash Morgan Webster in the stupid showing with Rampage Ground. So we're going to be talking about everything. So, you know, Paul, your thoughts on this show?
Oh, I think overall this was a great episode of NXT UK. You know, each and every segment, you know, it means something. You know, there was no, sometimes we see a little bit of a stupid thing like, oh, you know, here's the Nina Samuel show or nothing like that. No, I thought this episode, you know, for the most part, you know, was really good. I, you know, had a couple things here and there, but another solid episode. And I like where they're going with the title feud with Ilya. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so very much, family. Thank you for everything that you do for this show, for this podcast. We appreciate you. We love you. And we will never stop producing episodes like this for every single one of you. Don't forget, you know, AEW Dynamite review, because Miro replaced Jon Moxley in his to this semifinal to go into the number one contender tournament that will end up in Full Gear. And he ended up beating Orange Cassidy. So Paul, at least, like I said yesterday, like a negative that like became a positive. So that's good, because if we're going to see the finals of Bryan Danielson against Miro, this should be a really good match.
Yeah, God's former champion, the Redeemer, is now in the tournament, and I think he needs to win. I mean, I love Bryan Danielson, but I mean, Miro's the guy you really, I mean, this is the one thing, like I said in the review, which obviously, family, go check it out if you haven't already, but it's the guy you've got to capitalize on it. He's a surprise entrant. Nobody saw it. Push him all the way. I mean, yeah. Danielson he's always there. He can lose. He's one of those guys who's untouchable. So
yes, you know, and also you have a lot of things that you can do with the guy, because if you make a champion, right, what do you do next?
Yeah.
So, you know, you give him time, you give him a lot of feuds, and then he's like, okay, well, once a year and a half, all right, let's focus on becoming a new world champion. So we'll see. Don't forget, you know, check that review ready for you. So the thing that opens, the match that opened up like NXT UK for this week was actually Subculture, because remember how Flash Morgan Webster actually gets matches now. He slaps people. Rampage Brown did not fall for that. Really quick, he's like, okay, you win the matches, you gotta ask. But, you know, pretty like in the end, I don't know what Flash Morgan Webster they're trying to do. Like, if it's not in a tag team, if it's gonna be doing these things, oh, you know, jobber wannabe, you know, like he's getting into those categories where you don't want to fit in, when you don't want to live, you know, where you don't want to be. He's just, you know, this like Rampage, like loser wannabe, and you know, the match pretty decent, but in the end, you know, Rampage Brown with like the death bomb, is that what I think it's called? Or the Doctor Bomb. The Doctor Bomb, you know,
yeah.
Just gets the win. What do you think, Paul? What are they doing with Flash Morgan Webster?
I mean, well, what did you think of? To me, this was kind of a little bit of counterproductive as to what we saw later.
Yes.
As I said, you know, to start the show, it said, oh, Ilya Dragunov's going to be coming out, addressing the whole NXT UK universe. And, you know, as we see this match, they even say on commentary, you know, Rampage Brown is going to have an interest of what the champion has to say. So you think, okay, he's going to beat Flash Morgan Webster here in maybe 5 minutes. They're not going to completely job this guy because they like Flash Morgan Webster, former tag team champ, all that stuff. But I mean, Rampage Brown, you know, you got to push this guy, right? You know, you think. And he has this match, and maybe because this match was so competitive, I mean, in the beginning, you know, it's like Rampage Brown, but Morgan Webster hangs in there. He gets like an octopus lock, like a choke on him and all this stuff. And it's like, oh my God. Then he takes over, tornado DDT on the outside, all this stuff. You know, the little man is taking over, almost like Fuego del Sol against Miro. You know what I mean? Like all this, you know, but I mean, but with this, it's, you know, Morgan Webster's better than Fuego. But anyway, you know, this is eventually Dr. Bomb, like you said, he won it, but it was a couple times where you thought Morgan Webster was going to win. So too competitive, but maybe that's what led to, you know, the next time we saw Rampage Brown.
Exactly. So, like, I mean, that's what opened NXT UK, but like I said, I don't know what they want to do with Flash Morgan Webster. I still do not see what's going on. Is a clear baby face or a clear stupid wannabe? I don't want to use that terminology, but like, is that how you win? As for match?
I mean, they even said on commentary, they're like, I mean, I don't know if they might have said peculiar or some kind of like, you know, what a weird way to get matchups, because they said he goes up to the, the strongest and meanest guys in NXT. He slapped Shaw Samuels, he slapped Wolfgang, he slapped Rampage Brown. I hope he does it to Walter, and I hope Walter chops him into a hospital. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm like, what are you like?
Send him to the hospital. Exactly.
Yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, this is dumb.
So yeah, like you said, that's what opened up the show, which was pretty decent. Let's go to, like I said, like women's match with Isla Dawn, and Isla Dawn went with like a new girl, like actually an enhancement talent, so to say. It was Macy Evans, something like that. It was the name, and they start going into the match. It was pretty competitive at the beginning, but Isla Dawn gets disqualified because like she was trying to rip the hair. So that storyline still goes on, and they're still trying to make sure that like she's like a witch or the witchcraft. She needs the hair of like her opponents to maybe do like a potion, something like that, or like maybe like spell. I don't know.
Yeah,
but again, Isla Dawn is still a little weird for me.
Yeah, and of course they sell it like, oh, she's a kleptomaniac, like she's like addicted to stealing stuff.
Yes.
And it's like if you sell it like that, it doesn't make it sound creepy. It makes it sound like she's just like stealing shit.
She likes to steal things.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. You gotta sell it that it's creepy. It's like, is she using it for some kind of ritual? Sell the gimmick a little bit. Usually they're good about that, but who knows? That was what's his name? I think Andy Shepard. I don't think
Andy
that was
Shepard.
Not Nigel's usually pretty legit, but
Nigel understands more the mentality.
Yeah, this was another one that the ending was a little bit counterproductive, because they even said, oh, she better watch herself or she'll get disqualified. When has the commentating team ever said that and then they actually get disqualified?
Yeah, exactly. Like usually leave out the whole ending to the match.
Yeah, usually then when it happened, she kind of freaked out and everything, and it's like, I don't know. I just thought it was a weird kind of thing. It's a little bit counterproductive, but it was what it was.
Exactly. You are absolutely right on that. So let's go now to actually, Monsters Mountain. They see Trent Seven after the loss of Tyler Bate to the Heritage Cup to Noam Dar. That video was magnificently done by Jean Paul. All that review from last week. And he says, bro, Jean Paul, hey, I'm sorry, but hey, like I got you, like I got us like a match. I talked to Johnny Sane, and they're gonna actually add us to like the tag team #1 contenders tournament match. There you go. You see, like it's gonna be a fatal 4-way now. We're gonna see Symbiosis. We're gonna see now Monsters Mountain. We're gonna see, Dave Mastiff and Jack Stars, and also we're gonna see Smith and also Ashton
Carter.
There you go, him. So but in the end, you see this thing. But Tyler Bate within himself is like, you don't care about my title, my singles title. It's like it's all about us.
And tell me who, after watching this, who do you think is going to turn heel?
It's Tyler Bate.
Oh, I see. I think Trent Seven's going to turn. I think they're going to do like the swerve, and Trent's going to turn heel. Tyler Bate is having an interview, right? Okay, let's say this was like you and me. We'll put ourselves in their shoes. If one of us lost the title, do you think, and the other one, it was their fault, would you want to interrupt? Like, let's say I was the one who lost the title. Would you want to interrupt my interview and all this? You should be like, okay, I fucked up. I'm going to let him do his thing, whatever. He runs right in the middle of the interview. Oh, screw you about your Heritage Cup. Hey, we got this thing for the belt. Oh, forget about that. So it's just like, dude, you never cared about me. You only cared about yourself, whatever. And then I think maybe they're going to lose this match. And then Trent's going to turn on me like, you're always bullshit when it comes to, you never want to help me. I think they're going to do the swerve. I would rather see Tyler Bate, but the way they're setting it up, I think it's going to be Trent Seven.
For me, it's actually Tyler Bate, but like, because it's going to be like you said, I actually see it like the whole opposite side of you. It's like, really, dude? It's like, you fucked up. You make me lose my title, and now you don't even care much. You don't even care enough. And right away you put me in like maybe something that I don't want, because I actually want a rematch for my title. We'll see, but it's very interesting the way that they can go.
But it's definitely, they're playing it kind of down the middle. So like you said, it could go one, it could go the other. So
one way or the other, absolutely. But like, this is going to be the independent for next week. So like you said, like it doesn't matter who wins from all those three, because they're not, Monsters Mountain's not winning, because there's going to be the turn right there. And that kiss that like Trent Seven is blowing to every single one of you, that's going to be actually like the beginning of the end for Monsters Mountain. So that was cool. Let's talk about Tusia Brookside, because she actually wants to have a match against the winner of tonight's NXT UK Women's Championship match. She said, hey, I think I've earned it. Hey, I'm legit. And it's like, no. What do you mean earn it, girl? No, it's like, you got to go in the back of the line. It's like, you've lost so many matches right now. So he's like, so the heel turn, she's giving more details, more reasons.
And I like this, because, she's a daughter of a famous wrestler. And it's like, she never used, her dad's influence or anything, but this time she's like, she got pissed, so she calls on her phone. She's like, "Oh, you're not gonna believe what they did, Dad. Oh, you gotta come here and fix this." And then it's like, so you see, like you said, the heel turn. This is good. And I like this because we're seeing each of these segments. It's not useless. That's why I said this is just okay. It's furthering her heel turn. What we saw with Mustache Mountain, the segment before, planting the seeds for an eventual heel turn or something. If you read between the lines, if you look at it, you just think, oh, they're in the thing. But no, like all these, that's why I like this show. And I feel, because this is just on Peacock, Vince and all them aren't going to fuck with it. They'll be like, whatever, Shawn, Triple H, they can just do this.
Like, I think Shawn Michaels has a little bit to do with it, but not, full control, full creative. But at least, like you said, they're able to give us something to remember. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because this isn't like, there's nobody's playing poker. Nobody's like, oh, this is how you use Tinder. This is how you bang. Like, nobody, it's not stupid. That's all wrestling related on this show.
It is. And so that's the good thing. So let's move on to, we're going to see the match between Meiko, Satomura, and Jinny. That's going to be our main event. And, we see preparation from both the champion and the number one contender. And also we get to see a kid's, next opponent or next feud is going to be against Sam Gradwell. He's looking at all of these interviews in Spanish, all the popularity that the kid has in Spain, and in Central South America, everybody that speaks the Spanish or the language of, Del Quixote. So for that reason, you see this, and this is okay, because the A-Kid already lost the second NXT Championship match, in his career, so he needs something to build again, and at the expense of Sam Gradwell. Gradwell does his best job. His putting notice over, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100% on this. I'm fine with this because Gradwell, well, he's a great wrestler, but one of his greatest things, too, is his mouth. This guy can talk, and that's A-Kid's weakness. So Gradwell will carry this feud, just be on his promo work alone. So, he'll pick up the slack for A-Kid, so I'm looking forward to this.
Exactly. So, that's what I mean, and I really appreciate that. I like it. And now let's move on to the next one, Paul, because we know, you said this, Ilya Dragunov is cutting a promo, and this was really good because he's talking about how he dreamt to be NXT champion, NXT UK champion. He dethrones Walter, and now he had his first title defense against the A-Kid. He thanks the A-Kid because he said, I need competition, I need intensity, I need opponents, I need rivals that are going to push me to the limit. To the exact same limit, so I can be able to improve myself and to show that at the end I'm going to stay the champion or remain the champion. Rampage Brown shows up and he says, well, you know what? It's my time. He's like, enough of this bullshit, and then it goes right to his face. What did you think, though, Paul? Do you think it's too soon or no? Because Rampage Brown attacks Ilya Dragunov. So for me, yeah, too soon. I don't think that you're going to do this. You didn't want to do this quite yet.
I mean, if I saw this match, I would like to have seen, because of how many times he's been close to the title, Rampage Brown. So it's like the same story with Dragunov. It's like you can't keep putting him in these matches and he never wins them. Soon we won't want him to win, or we won't care about him being in the match to begin with. But the thing I like here is the heel turn, because when he stepped out, he challenged him. I love the interaction here between the two. Ilya's like, you know what? I've slain giants, the same size as you, if not bigger, but I'm always up for the challenge. So, I would love to fight you. And, he's like, you have my respect. Boom, big clothesline. Fuck you. I don't need your respect, kid. I only need your title. Badass line. Heel turn for Rampage Brown. This is great because maybe, like I said, in the first thing, he's like, I almost got beat by that, Beatle looking, guy, freaking the fifth member of the Beatles, Flash Morgan Webster. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm supposed to be badass and he almost beat me? No, maybe he's pissed off, it's all storyline, of course, but maybe this led to the heel turn. I like this. And I don't think they're going to do a short title reign with Dragunov. I think he's going to escape this. But if you do, I hope this is the only time I'm going to say it. I hope it's not clean. I hope there's some kind of interference, something, because with this heel turn for Rampage Brown, he doesn't need to get beat clean right after turning heel. Exactly.
No, something needs to happen. To me, it's way too soon. You have other guys that you could use for your Dragunov. You have, for example, a mini feud with Theo Man. That would have been, so much easier to just get through because it was 2-3 weeks of build. And then that's it. And then when you have a big pay-per-view right now, finally in the UK, or an NXT takeover, or you have the Royal Rumble, something like that, you can feature the title. Then is when you do the switch. If you think that Ilya Dragunov is not going to have a really extended, a really long title reign like they did, I will see. Only they have the rights to keep.
The only thing I'll say is so far with all their bookings, maybe we don't agree with the little matches week to week, but overall, I would say we agree NXT UK has some really solid booking, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly.
Right now.
Like we have more reasons to trust rather than to not, distrust. There you go. So like, the champion and the opponent, number one contender, they got a stare down also. It is good. I mean, we knew this. I mean, the women's division has a lot of good people. There's a lot of talent, a lot of like women that could easily also like be the ones like running this brand. But Meiko was not gonna lose. So that's the one thing. But like they have this stare down. It's like, we're gonna see each other in a little bit. So like, Paul, let's talk about a little bit of Theo Man. He had a really good promo with Raja. So tell me a little bit about this, because I love this. Like, I love this thing, but again, he needs to like have a meaningful win. I always say this. He needs to have an important win, because Theo Man is great, but the character is gonna keep dying if you don't give me something of value.
Yeah, and I really think, we kind of see where their next feud is going to be, obviously with Gallus, but you got to add somebody else. Whether it's Dempsey or whoever it is, you got to add somebody else, because he's like, hey, what about Gallus? They're talking about the feud, family versus family, all this stuff. He's like, no, we're the real family, all this. And he's just like, oh, what about Joe and all this stuff? And he's just like, don't worry, like the all-seeing eye. And again, but it's the same thing. Is it just smoke and mirrors? Because these guys got to get the meaningful win. They got to beat Gallus. Gallus has to put them over. They have to, look strong, whether they become the next tag champs, which I said they should. Maybe, again, you give it to that baby. If you're going to take it off Pretty Deadly, give it to Jack Stars and Mastiff for 2 weeks. Add that Heath Slater and Rhino, where nobody suspected us to win. And then they lose it right to Tio Man and Raja or something, because you got to get this group over. Otherwise, it's like, it's the same thing I said with Isla Dawn. It's like, okay, the vignettes, the promos, all the stuff you film, it looks really cool. But then when I see you in the ring and I look at the card, oh, well, here it says they lost. Oh, well, then do I really care? No.
And do I really want to believe that they're good? Yeah. Exactly. Like, winning goes alongside with credibility. I think those two goes with toe-to-toe. We'll see what happens. And now we're going to see what's next for also like Frazier and Mark Andrews, because he said, oh, I'm a big fan of yours. I always wanted to have this dream match. I grew up watching you. You're badass. You're legit. All of that. Is like, why don't we just do it? So in the spirit of sportsmanship, we're going to do it. So we're going to see this next week probably. This is good for both guys because, again, ability, same style, all of that is going to be good. But I think Frazier is going to get the win because...
And that's the one thing I'm going to say here, because we kind of saw feuds for all these people lined up. So we saw Morgan Webster. He just had Rampage Brown. We see Frazier going against Mark Andrews. And then we saw Stevie Turner. She interrupted a promo from Subculture. And then her and Danny Luna were, having a match in it. So it's like we see Subculture. And, I really think the only one who's going to maybe get the win is Danny Luna.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see these other ones getting a win. So I'm like, what is, you take these guys out of the tag division where I don't want to say they were sorely missed or anything. But, they could have been in there and, been in the mix in some kind of feud. And you put them in this group, and to me, ever since they've joined Subculture, they've just been losing. So I don't know.
It's not very productive. I mean, when it comes to like rewarding, it's not
because,
very
like
successful.
you said, Frazier's got to win. You got to think, okay, he was in that triple.
He's been losing quite often. He needs to
so he's got to win.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not going to be like that. So let's move on to like the main event, and I want your thoughts about the match because very competitive though. Toe to toe, like Meiko Satomura, of course, like she looked a little bit better, but just that itch. That like differences the champion from an opponent. And in this case of Jinny, aside of the finisher, she's really solid though. She has a lot of.
I was just gonna say, I think this is the these last couple times we've seen Jinny. Not only is she pretty good in the ring. She's a solid competitor. I could easily see her at some point going to either regular NXT or maybe they just go, what, that's our developmental, we'll just take you from UK right to like Raw, SmackDown, which I don't think they will, but they'll probably put them on NXT and make them try to wrestle all those other losers down there. But anyway, no, Jinny I think is really good, and they have a lot of faith in her because she kicks out of Meiko's moves. It's not she hit her with the big kind of scorpion kick, not the Scorpio Rising, but just or like the bicycle kick or whatever they call it. Yeah. She hit that, which is kind of like Jinny's finisher. She almost hits that like Dakota Kai's move, like that kick and all this stuff. But Meiko kicks out, Jinny kicks out. They really are presenting her like the top, the number 2 woman right below Meiko. So this was good. You know, a lot of the submissions and stuff. The only thing is, like, then when Meiko got out, she starts kicking her with both legs, and it's like no selling that.
It's like, yeah,
in the crab.
Exactly.
But, you know, of course, Nigel says, oh, you know, Japan, the fighting spirit, you know, all that stuff. So, you know, he tried to cover for it a little bit. But, I mean, no, this was really good. There was a couple points, I got to be honest, where I thought maybe they are going to put the belt on Jinny, because I thought, hey, maybe Meiko, like I said, you're going to go to Raw, you're going to go to SmackDown. Sasha Banks said she wanted to fight her. All these women, you know, when she came here, Meiko, they, you know, on the main roster, they said they wanted to fight her. Maybe I'm thinking they're going to take her there, you know. But no, she retained. And this is good, because the one thing we didn't mention during the stare down, Blair Davenport came out. She's like, ladies, I don't give a shit who wins, because Blair Davenport's back and you're all on notice. So, you know, we got to think, you know, we said that's the story. You know, you're setting that up. And I think Blair Davenport's probably going to have a match with Amelia McKenzie. You know, speaking of which, you know, there she is. You know, I think she's going to have a match with her and, you know, probably just beat the shit out of her, unfortunately, but just to show her dominance and be like, yeah, I'm coming for you, champ. So,
and it needs it. You know, the story's calling for it. That's the one thing, is like, once
because it's like when your little brother gets beat up, you're gonna want, our little sister in this case gets beat up, you're gonna want to go. You want them,
yes, exactly. Well, in order for you to get to Meiko's skin, you need to go through Amelia. That's what it's gonna be. But like I said, aside of that, excellent title match.
And the one thing, to touch on that, you said it's like, you know, she did, you know, she hit the big kick, like the bicycle kick, the Death Valley driver, she kicked out. So it's like, all right, let me set up my finisher, the Scorpio Rising. She goes for that. I don't know if Jinny moved or she wasn't in the right spot, not yet, or whatever, in the right spot, but didn't really hit it. And then she kind of was like, ah, shit, you know, that didn't look good. So she picked her up, hit another Death Valley driver, which I'm glad that she didn't just pin her off the botch. You know, like Edge and Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell, like completely missed the stomp, but I'll pin you anyway. You know, no, but this was good besides the botch. And like you said, we got to see what's next. Are they gonna fast track Blair Davenport? Or are they gonna set up a lot more women? Maybe we do see Xia Brookside or somebody like that.
Yeah, it's true. Now, well, we'll see what happens. But in the end, you know, this is a solid episode of NXT UK. And that's what we have for you guys. So thank you so very much for every single one of you. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Also, like, follow us in the whole umbrella of social media waves that we have. Paul is going to tell you all of them in just a little bit. And remember, tomorrow we'll have SmackDown. It's back. You know, we got a little bit of an inconvenience, but we'll be back for SmackDown. Yeah, hopefully, let's hope the show is good. At least that's the first hope. But you guys can also hope that we will make the review for that. So where they can find us, Paul.
And then, guys, make sure you follow us all the social media. Rope Break on Facebook, OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is